In addition to the street food industry, many high-end restaurants and cafes are also bringing in plant-based meat options. These food products now make up the main menu instead of being treated as a sloppy second option. This transition has come about due to the high quality and taste of these items. People are waking up to the problem of environmental degradation. Efforts are being made all over the world to reduce carbon footprint and promote sustainable development. Environmental conservation is no longer only about mandating factories to adopt greener practices or ensuring that vehicles on the road are checked regularly for their pollution levels. It is wider than that and encompasses all industries. If you truly want to leverage social networking websites to build your multi-level marketing or other online businesses, you need to listen first and develop trust second. That's when you can begin to use your community marketing abilities that used to work so well before everyone experienced to be so transparent. Air filters are a vital part of the engine and help keep it running smoothly. A clogged air filter can be the cause of many problems with the car, including decreased gas mileage and increased emissions. Air filters protect the engine by capturing dirt particles that may enter through the air intake. In probability sampling, each member of the group is selected at regular intervals to be a part of the sample. Systematic sampling is an implementation of probability sampling. In systematic sampling, researchers use statistical methods to choose and decide population on whom they want to research. The sampling interval can be calculated by division of the entire population by required sample size. In addition to its unique geography and geology, Yellowstone is also home to many different species of plants and animals. For example, there are more than 1,000 species of trees and plants native to the Yellowstone area. It is also home to many different species of fauna, many of which are considered megafaunas such as grizzly bears and bison. Anthropology majors pursue a wide variety of careers, as do sociology students. Either of these degrees can lead to a career as a teacher, public sector employee, or academic. Students who major in sociology often go on to work at non-profit or governmental organizations, and the degree can be a stepping stone to a career in politics or public administration.
Most societies throughout history employed some strategies to help people in poverty meet basic needs. Before the 20th century, religious groups and private charities often led such initiatives. Today, these are called welfare programs, and they usually take the form of government-provided subsidies for housing, food, energy, and healthcare. Typically, these programs are means-tested, meaning that only people who fall below a certain income level are eligible for benefits. This policy is designed to ensure aid goes to those who need it most, but it also means people lose access as soon as they earn more than the qualification threshold, regardless of whether or not they're financially stable enough to stay there. This vicious cycle is harmful to both those in poverty and those outside of it. Mainstream economic models assume people are rational actors who weigh the cost and benefits of their options and choose the most advantageous path forward. If those in poverty know they'll gain no net benefit from working, they're incentivized to remain on government assistance. Of course, people work for many reasons, including societal norms and personal values. But income is a major incentive to pursuing employment. And when less people take on new jobs, the economy slows down, keeping people in poverty and potentially pushing people on the cusp of poverty over the edge.
When you hear things like human DNA differs from chimp DNA by only a couple %, you can't help but wonder, how can that be? How can so few changes make such a big difference? Researchers working with fruit bats and mice think they have an answer, and it lies less in the animal's genes than in the short snippets of DNA that control when and where and how vigorously genes are turned on. If you've ever thought that a bat is basically just a rodent with wings, you're not too far from the mark. One of the most obvious differences between bats and mice is their forearms. Mice have these stubby little legs, and bats have these large, leathery wings. But even those differences are not as major as you might imagine. Mice and bats both have a gene called PRX1, which regulates limb development, but the gene is more active in the budding wings of bats. So the researchers took the piece of DNA that controls PRX1 activity from a bat and stuck it into a mouse. The result, pictured in the January 15 issue of Genes in Development, mice that have longer front legs. Okay, they didn't sprout wings, but the study shows that even small changes can have big consequences. Thanks for the minute. For Scientific American's 60-Second Science, I'm Karen Hopkin. If you've ever wondered where the Earth came from, the answer, it seems, is blowing in the wind. The solar wind, or so say scientists who, after examining solar wind samples collected by the Genesis spacecraft, conclude that the inner planets of our solar system formed a little differently than we'd thought. The work appears in the journal Science. Our solar system arose from a large, rotating cloud of interstellar debris called the solar nebula. The sun came first, and the planets followed not long after. But the new study shows that the ratio of oxygen and nitrogen isotopes found in the solar wind is different from the ratio here on Earth, or on the Moon, or Mars. We've got more of the heavier versions of these atoms than our Sun does. Now we just have to figure out why. Scientists say the excess heavy nitrogen could have come from a comet, and the heavier oxygen from a natural process that left more of the light isotope in the part of the nebula that made the Sun. So we are made of star stuff, but when it comes to our elemental composition, we're not a carbon copy. Thanks for the minute. For Scientific American's 60-Second Science, I'm Karen Hopkin. We've all heard the old saw about women who let themselves go after getting married. Well, female ticks take this post-honeymoon weight gain to extremes. After mating, female ticks in the family Ixodes increase their mass an astonishing 100 times, ballooning from the size of a sand grain to that of a kidney bean. This post-copulatory growth spurt is actually an important part of the tick's whole blood-sucking lifestyle. Female ticks need to fully engorge before they can lay eggs, but virgins are better off staying small so they'll have more time to find a mate. Not that male ticks have anything against full-bodied females, it's just that ticks meet their matches while they're hanging around on their host, and if unwed females become too unwieldy, they're more likely to get knocked off during a good grooming. As to what spurs the females to really bulk up, Ruben Kaufman of the University of Alberta finds that male tick semen contains proteins that trigger engorgement. Vaccines against these proteins could keep ticks from reproducing and transmitting infections such as Lyme disease. That would be good news for people, but bad news for female ticks who dream of being engorgeous.